And this last week, it again came to a head where Congress threatened to, where the deadline for when the current resolution expired was close to coming to pass. If Congress hasn't passed a budget, then the authority of the administration and the government to spend money goes away.
Okay.
Because there's no legislation directing what it's allowed to be spent on, and the Constitution requires Congress to have consented to most spending.
So all federal
not most spending,
will all federal spending be frozen?
It's actually not all federal spending, because a fair amount of spending isn't done on an annual basis. It's kind of passed and it continues forever until the legislation that...
Okay, so I heard like park rangers.
Like national parks are funded on an annual basis. Someone looks at the national parks, says next year we're going to spend $864 million on national parks, and that gets divvied down to eventually, the Sequoia National Park is getting $3 million, and that's going to 14 rangers and gas.
So what federal services or people would this shutdown have affected? Like not the FBI or...
So generally it doesn't affect law enforcement, although it does affect parts of law enforcement, because there are parts of law enforcement that are considered clerical and administrative and therefore not essential, and parts of law enforcement that are essential. But for the most part, most law enforcement wouldn't have been affected.
Including...
Not because it's funded in perpetuity, but because it's considered essential. And when budgets are passed, they also pass legislation that says, in the event we find ourselves without a budget, Congress permits and expects the administration to continue funding for essential services to keep the country going, because it would be terrible if everything just stopped.
Okay, so let's say we didn't pass a budget. We can hear Turbo laughing through the headphones. Something funny just happened.
Yeah.
I assume the otter.
Otter?
So, how would my life been different if the federal government shut down? If I don't go to a park, I say I don't go to a national park, how would my life be affected day to day?
There certainly are government services that you probably implicitly take advantage of or expect to be there. The mail would keep going because the post office pays for itself.
Okay.
A lot of oversight authorities would essentially stop. So, water would stop being inspected for cleanliness.
Oh, and like food inspectors?
Yes, meat inspectors would stop inspecting meat.
Oh,
or
that sounds bad.
The people that inspect the meat inspectors, because the meat inspectors are paid for by the companies that have the meat. It's the meat inspectors that are paid for by the government.
Would this have stopped the meat or made the meat not inspected when it gets to me?
I have no idea.
Wow. Okay, so this latest budget we did eventually pass.
They did finally consent.
What were the arguments? Like, why was it stopped, and how did they negotiate?
Primarily, one of the results of last year's election was a number of Republicans from the Tea Party faction were elected, and they have said they think their mandate is to seriously reduce federal spending. Right. So there were a lot of campaigns that promised, if we're elected, we're going to cut $100 million from the budget, or $100 billion from the budget. $100 million would have been easy.
Yeah.
And so many of those candidates wanted to cut a very large amount from the budget. Mm-hmm. There were also a number of candidates that also wanted to cut a couple programs that they dislike for moral or other reasons. They wanted to defund Planned Parenthood, even though it's really not very, in the grand scheme of things, it's a very low amount of money. You wouldn't do it for fiscal reasons. They wanted to defund National Public Radio. They wanted to take away the rights of Washington, D.C. as a city to do certain things. Yeah. And so there were two large sticking points. One was the amount that would actually be cut. And the two sides had negotiated back and forth. When they ran, they said $100 billion. But we're 6 months into the year, so some of them have said, well, you can't cut $100 billion. We're halfway through the year. Maybe we'll only cut $50 billion. The number they eventually arrived at is supposedly somewhere around $38 billion, is what Republicans and Democrats were able to arrive at. Since then, the Congressional Budget Office has said it actually doesn't cut anywhere near that much money. Maybe it cuts a couple $100 million total.
All right. What's our deficit for this budget?
I think it's
over $1 trillion, I believe, right?
I don't think it's over $1 trillion for the year, but it's close to $1 trillion. I mean,
Do you know what our debt is? What's our national debt?
I think our national debt is around $13 trillion or $14 trillion.
Isn't there like a ceiling on the amount of debt we
There
can
is, yeah. That's the next one coming up.
Have we passed it?
No.
Are we going to pass it?
No, July. July is when we should reach the debt
All right.
ceiling.
We've got to take a break now. So when we come back, we'll be taking your tweets, and we'll talk some more about.
Let's talk
It's
about
on that
something
card,
besides, because
Obama
but
thing.
we talked this budget thing to death.
Okay. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Stay right there. Don't go away. Okay. We're clear. I need my card back. What are you taking my card for? Bad otter. Bad otter.
Who are you talking to?
The otter. That's the card I needed.
Why do you keep talking about otters?
Oh, you know. Okay. So we've only got like 7 minutes left. We got to hurry. Take our tweets. Do we have any tweets? Look at the tweets. We have tweets.
Tom says he has his Apple II here, and if Waz is willing to sign it on the air, he's willing to schlep it out.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Let's get him out here now.
Get out here.
Well, I haven't asked Steve if he would. Steve, would you?
I thought Keith was supposed to put covers on his Pepsi cans.
Oh, yeah, we don't. We're on the edge in this show. We're edgy. Living on the edge.
See, that's not a Coke can at all. That's just that's a can with some X's on it. Is it true that the world's best chocolate is grown in Libya? No. I believe it's grown in the Ivory Coast. Does Keith have the answers to everything or anything? Somewhere in between.
So that's all we have, right?
Dude, are you going to have that otter thing again on the show? What is
Yes.
this otter thing?
We have an otter. Haven't you seen the otter? He's stealing our cards.
What are you talking about?
I don't see an otter. I see a
Okay,
paper.
do we have the computer coming or not? Where'd it go? Is it?
He'll be here in a sec. We've got till the end of the show.
No, we got to come back in like a few minutes.
Okay, so we'll...
I hear the door moving. I got a Sharpie. Awesome. Let's bring it up here. Hey, Steve, you want to come and sign my friend Tom's Apple II?
Look, I got a Sharpie.
I got a Sharpie too.
Okay, whose Sharpie do you want to use? Let's see, which one? Mine's kind of dull. Use yours. Yours is
Okay.
sharpier.
Yay!
Am I going to
Thanks.
sign it now?
Yes.
This would be great.
Is the camera on?
We're on break, but camera 2 would be the camera.
Yeah,
wait for the
we'll run it
camera?
later. No, it's fine.
I'll do
It's
it
fine.
now. Do it
Do
now.
it right now. Okay, sign his computer.
Wow.
Yay!
One of the better Sharpies.
That's why I had him use yours, not mine. Mine's
got
a
a-
crappy Sharpie. I've
got
been
better Sharpie.
home maintenancing with it.
You want us to bring yours in, please?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we're back, and we're going to take your tweets. We have 3 tweets tonight.
We do.
Is it true that the world's best chocolate is grown in Libya?
No, it's going in the Ivory Coast.
Okay. So does Keith have the answers to anything or everything?
Somewhere in between.
Okay. Dude, are you going to have that otter thing again on the show? Yes. We took your tweets.
What are you talking? You high?
I don't know why you don't see the otter. Okay.
What otter?
Our next topic, Obama citizenship.
I thought they were going to miss the music, so I felt compelled.
Oh, yeah. It's a little slow on when they press play. It's got spin up.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. So, I bring this up only because Donald Trump recently has started suspecting that Obama is not a citizen. And most of us think this is crazy. In fact, Congress had a resolution, and they voted unanimously that Obama is a citizen. But here we are. So I have a copy of his certification of live birth.
Certificate of live birth.
Let's see it on the screen right now. There it is. It says Obama Hussein Barack Hussein Obama, born
Obama,
to
comma, Barack Hussein.
Stanley something something, dad, Barack
Yeah.
Obama Sr.,
Yeah.
live birth in Hawaii. Okay.
Yes, Honolulu.
Why is that not good enough to
August
prove to
4th.
everybody?
As
that
anyone
he
can
was born in
plainly
Hawaii?
see, that's a certificate of live birth,
Yes.
not a birth certificate.
What's the difference?
Well, one has 4 words and starts with certificate, and one has 2 words and starts with birth.
Don't evade the question.
I'm not evading the question. That's the
Okay.
answer. Certificate of live birth is, by definition, not a birth certificate. Now, true, they're interchangeable
Okay.
in most people's minds, unless you're crazy.
So I
Stark raving
heard
mad crazy.
that this administrator in Hawaii,
Yes.
Department of Health Services,
Yes,
declared he's seen the birth certificate.
Seen the
and it's
original?
there, and
Yes.
it's correct. He was born in Hawaii.
that's correct. Honolulu,
is
August
it
4th,
not-
1961, I believe.
Why is it not published?
Because Hawaiian law says the original birth certificates aren't published, and what's published are the certificates of live birth, which are essentially them entering the information from the birth certificate, which was printed in hand by the hospital
Could someone
and has
ask-
a bunch of private information on it,
Could someone ask for
into
a
the
copy?
computer system.
Could someone ask for a copy of the birth certificate?
If you have standing, you can ask for a copy of the birth certificate.
Standing, meaning it's yours, I suppose.
Yes.
So
meaning it's
Obama
yours.
could ask
Obama
for his-
could ask for it.
And he could choose to publish it.
He could, but he chose to publish his certificate of live birth, like every person in Hawaii who needs to prove who they are.
So
get
this seems pretty valid.
Yeah, I always thought so.
Okay. So Obama's mother, U.S. citizen.
Yes.
No one's debating this.
No. Well,
Okay.
let's not go there.
Let's not go there. His father, not a citizen.
Not a citizen.
Okay, that's fine. Kenyan.
Kenyan.
So,
British
like-
citizen at the time. British
British
citizen
citizen,
at the time.
So, if he wasn't born in Hawaii, he still had a American citizen
Yes,
mother.
so he would have still been an American citizen. But the question that people say is he a naturally born citizen? Because the Constitution doesn't say you have to be an American citizen. It says you have to be naturally born an American citizen.
He's born from an
You,
American.
for example, I'm told, are a citizen.
I am a citizen.
But you're not a naturally born American
no,
citizen.
naturalized.
Yes.
Yes. So wasn't he, because he had a American citizen mother, wouldn't
He did.
be at birth
By definition, he,
an American citizen at birth?
until the age of 18, he was, by definition, a citizen. At 18, he could have, in theory, chosen either of his parents' citizenships.
So at
Because
birth,
he was born, his father was a citizen of the Commonwealth,
Uh-huh.
and Kenya declared its independence a couple of years later. So his father actually became a citizen of Kenya and renounced his British citizenship. So Kenya actually would have allowed Obama to declare himself a Kenyan citizen, or he could have been a British citizen, or he could have been an American citizen. But since he didn't do any of those, he remained an American citizen.
okay. So I heard the issue was that even though his mother was American,
Yes?
if she gave birth out of the country
Yes?
and only one parent was American, it'd have to be American for at least 5 years since her 16th birthday. And she was 18. So that's, I think, why people think he might not qualify.
Yeah, these
for
people are
citizenship.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Because we all know
Stark
it's
raving,
my
loony,
opinion
mad crazy.
that he was born. Okay, our show's over. It's been great seeing you. Next show is May 12th. And we're going to have otters are great and give otter fish. And it was a great show.